Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com. So let's say you're on AT&T, you're looking for an inexpensive smartphone that's not going to break the bank, and you've landed on the Samsung Focus 2 and the Samsung Galaxy Exhilarate, and you're trying to decide which one you should get. Android versus Windows Phone, but they're both the same price on contract, only $50, so which one should you go for? Well, that's what we're going to answer in this dogfight between the Samsung Galaxy Exhilarate and the Samsung Focus 2. Before we start, I have to say a special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile. They sent us the phones that we add to our One Paw Bandit game, which is a game where you guys can win free phones. One of the great things about Best Buy Mobile is that when you buy a phone from them, you don't have to worry about rebates because the price on the tag is the price you pay. So thank you, Best Buy Mobile, for being so awesome. Let's go over to the web browser and let's load up PhoneDog.com. Now both of these are LTE devices. However, I have had severe problems with AT&T's network lately, and so they're both right now connected to Wi-Fi, as you can see, because I just can't get a connection. And so we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but if we go to PhoneDog.com, wait for this to load up, and compare both of these. Now again, you know, talking about the customization with Android, you can also download different web browsers, and so you have Dolphin or Opera, you can download Chrome, so you have different web browsers that you can download, whereas with Windows Phone you get Internet Explorer, and that's the only option. So, you know, again, kind of one of those advantages with Android. You can, like I said, customize virtually every aspect of your experience. They both loaded pretty quickly because, like I said, we're on Wi-Fi right now. You can see pinch to zoom, very smooth. That dual-core processor, it does a great job. There's really no lag at all. There's minor checkerboarding there, but really nothing major. And so we can zoom in, go to this article, and you can see on Windows Phone, you know, even with just a single-core processor, again, very smooth. And no lag at all. So speaking of data speeds, I will show you guys my results, and you know, I've had problems with AT&T's network. I'm not really sure what's going on, but neither of these will connect on a regular basis. You can see I have, you know, 5 results here because I just couldn't get a data connection long enough on a consistent basis to do more tests. Here we have data speeds of 12.2, you know, kind of an average of about 12 to 13 megabits per second for downloads, and then we have a low here of 9.75. And then on the Focus 2, definitely not as good. We're getting about 7.5 megabits per second. And then here we kind of jump up to 8.4, 7.6. Again, you know, these just could be inconsistencies due to the problems I've had with AT&T's network. But I will say, obviously, as you can see, the Galaxy Exhilarate, much faster download speeds, but they are both LTE, and so a lot of this may just depend on coverage in your area. Now, when talking about a smartphone, one of the major draws is apps, the ability to download apps, games. With Android, you're going to be using the Google Play Store, and then with Windows Phone, you have the Windows Phone Marketplace. Google Play has over 500,000 apps and games, and along with that, you have music, movies, and books. And the Windows Phone Marketplace, you have about 100,000 apps and games, and you also can purchase music and podcasts. There's no books, however you can download apps like Kindle, you know, if you want to get books for that. So 500,000 compared to 100,000, the difference is obvious, the advantage is obvious. And so a couple of examples here of maybe some of the differences or apps that are available on Android that you can't get on Windows Phone. Some of the top free apps, you have Facebook, and a lot of times Twitter. There are several Twitter apps available on Windows Phone. They're not always the same, you know, brand. You have like Seismic on Android. You do have Seismic on Windows Phone. It's just different developers, but the apps are still pretty high quality. You look here at YouTube. There is a Windows Phone YouTube app, but it just takes you to the mobile page, so it's pretty pointless. Pandora, there's no Pandora app for Windows Phone. There's a third-party version that I haven't personally used. If you use Slacker Radio, there is an official Windows Phone Slacker Radio app. Instagram, there is no official Instagram app. There's other, again, third-party apps that are, you know, still well designed, but it's not Instagram, though it does pretty much the same thing. Kindle, you do have Kindle. You do have Netflix access. There's a Netflix app. Again, Slacker Radio, I talked about that. There's a lot of weather apps and weather widgets on Android. The same, you can see news and weather. So there's a lot of live tile apps where you can have a live tile that will show you the weather. So you do have access to that. So just kind of a, you know, quick look barcode scanner. There's several barcode scanner apps in the Windows Phone Marketplace. There's no Draw Something app. I believe there is an eBay app. So you can kind of get an idea. Usually, if there's not an official app, there's a third-party app that's generally pretty well designed. However, you know, 500,000, you know, again, compared to 100,000, the difference is obvious and the advantage is obvious. So if you download tons of apps, if you love apps, Android is definitely the best one to go with. Now, both of these phones have a 5 megapixel camera, autofocus. Both of them also have a flash, and they do both have a front-facing camera. So you can see on the Focus 2 front-facing camera right there, and then on the Exhilarate front-facing camera right there. Both VGA front-facing cameras. So cameras are basically the same, you know, 5 megapixels, 5 megapixels. However, I will say that the Focus 2, the colors showed up a little bit better, and I'll show you guys some pictures here comparing the two. You can see that colors on the Focus 2, they're a little more vibrant, whereas on the Exhilarate, it's kind of faded. You can see the greens, the bright colors, the browns, and the trees. It's definitely more vibrant on the Focus 2. However, once you get inside, so you can see some of these low light settings, the Exhilarate did a much better job with low light settings. The flash was a little more pronounced, you know, whereas on the Focus 2 is kind of a little more dim, which may be a good or bad thing depending on the angle. But you can see a couple of these inside shots. They both kind of evened out once we got inside, but colors definitely, they're just much more vibrant, whereas on the Exhilarate, it's just, it's really faded. So I'd have to give an edge to the Focus 2 for that reason. They do both capture 720p HD video with their cameras. Not great video. They're both, you know, pretty much about the same. The audio quality is good on both of them, but video quality, the detail is very poor, kind of grainy and a lot of noise. So HD video was pretty low quality, but in terms of the camera, they both take decent pictures, but the Focus 2 was just, the colors showed up much better. So also on the back, while we're back here, let's talk about the battery. They both have a 1750 milliamp hour battery, and battery life has been about the same, you know, both being smartphones, both being LTE devices. You know, battery life wasn't excellent, but I was still able to get through a full day on one charge. Now, battery life is going to vary a lot depending on your usage habits, and also, again, take into account that I couldn't get a consistent data connection with both of these phones, so that's also going to affect my test with battery life. But really it was about equal, you know, same size battery. You've got a lot of multitasking with Android, multitasking with Windows Phone, and then LTE on top of that. So about a day, you know, maybe a day and a half. I would recommend charging it every night. While we're back here, you'll notice another difference here is that the Exhilarate has a micro SD card slot. So this can be used to expand your memory. Now the phone has 4 gigabytes of internal storage, whereas the Focus 2 has 8 gigabytes of internal storage, so a little bit more with the Focus 2. However, the Focus does not have a micro SD card slot, so you're stuck with 8 gigabytes. You can't get any more of that. You do have the cloud. I mentioned SkyDrive, so you can use that for, you know, pictures or documents, but on the phone you're limited to 8 gigs, whereas with the Exhilarate you can use this slot to expand your memory up to 32 gigabytes plus the 4 that comes with the phone. So much more memory if you consider, you know, the slots. Of course, you will have to buy the card, so you're going to end up paying extra for that, but still at least you have the option, whereas you don't on the Focus 2. So there you have it, the Samsung Focus 2 versus the Samsung Galaxy Exhilarate. In a lot of ways, they're very similar, and honestly, you can't go wrong with either one because they are so similar. It really just depends on which operating system you prefer. Do you want Android or do you want Windows Phone? Do you prefer being able to customize your device to no end, or do you prefer, simple and minimalistic? Both of them $50 right now from AT&T. And go check them out. Thanks guys for watching. Let me know which one do you think is better, which one do you prefer. Are you an Android fan or are you a Windows Phone fan? Let me know in the comments, but thanks guys for watching. Keep it on phonedog.com for more news, updates, and reviews and dog fights. I'm Sydney, and I will see you guys later. Bye.